Oftentimes, as I talk to you about the scriptures, I tell you to learn to make lists. And if you want to know where I really learned that, I learned that from a Bible my father gave me right after I got born again and went to Bible college. It was a Bible called the Dake's Annotated Bible. Finis Dake. And Dake had evidently been a friend of my grandfather. And Grandpa said he was the smartest man he'd ever met. Now, Finis Dake was famous for, in his Bible, making lists. And I can remember as a young baby Christian just fascinated with all the lists that he'd come up with. And remember, this was this was a lifetime before computers. But here's a great list that you can make in the book of Isaiah. What sorrow? Just take the word sorrow and see the people that God says are going to have sorrow in their life. Now, for illustrations, look at verse 20 to 22. What sorrow for those who say that evil is good and good is evil and dark is light and light is dark and bitter is sweet and sweet is bitter. What sorrow for those who are wise in their own eyes and think themselves so clever. What sorrow for those who are heroes at drinking wine and boast about all the alcohol they can hold. Now notice, what sorrows? There are sorrows for people who change definitions. We'll talk about that one more in just a moment. There are sorrows for people who think that they are so clever and so wise. And there is nothing but sorrows for what I would call the life of the party, the heroes of the clubbing scene, the guys that can drink so much. What sorrows are ahead for those people? But I want to focus today on the one, what sorrows await for those who change definitions. For those who say that evil is good, they've changed the definition. Those that say that good is evil, they've changed the definition. They say that dark is light and light is dark, they've changed definitions. They say that bitter is sweet and sweet is bitter, they've changed the definitions. Now let me illustrate some of these changing definitions in the world today. When you walk down a street and you find a wallet and somebody tells you, oh, that's the blessing of the Lord. No, that's a responsibility to return it to who lost it. When taking a kickback, you change the concept of corruption, and it's no longer corruption, it's industry standards, industry practice. So it's all right to take a kickback because it's industry standard, it's industry practices. Okay, we've changed definitions. When paying a bribe, you call it the cost of doing business. No, bribery is a sin. It weakens the nations. When you participate in another person's sin and the person looks at you and say, you are truly a friend, they've changed the definition of friendship. Now friendship is joining a person in sin, joining them in their sin because you're a true friend. Whatever happened about friendship with God? When you murder a person today who's sick, it's called euthanasia, and you call it a mercy killing. No, God would call it murder. When you murder an unborn child, it's called abortion, and you call it freedom and democracy. When you spend a night in clubs and sexual immorality, and somebody calls it freedom, the world's definitions are changing. And beloved, we have to learn to get back to biblical concepts and biblical ethics. The world is sliding ever deeper into a black hole of degeneracy. And if you wonder why, I taught you a few weeks ago out of Ephesians 2, Satan is at work in the hearts of those who disobey. The disobedient, just like God is working in the hearts of believers, Satan is working in the hearts of unbelievers, ever taking the world deeper and deeper into sin. That's why the definitions are changing. That's why you need to read your Bible and quit allowing yourself to conform to this world.